Although it may sound like I'm being very negative towards the movies in this video, please keep in mind that I absolutely love all of them. So any negativity is me trying to improve what I already love. Now with that in mind, enjoy the video. Hello everyone, it's Thomas Juby, and today we're talking about the TCU again, or the Transformers Cinematic Universe. Specifically, the future of the entire Transformers movie franchise. We know that Transformers 6 and subsequent movies have been cancelled by Hasbro and Paramount, as there are now other movies coming out for Hasbro related properties until then. So, with all this time until the movies return, why not talk about what can be done to return these movies to the former glory of the Transformers brand? Let's take a look, as there are a lot of things that can be fixed. This is personally what I think is one of the biggest problems with the movies. When I pay the money for a ticket, I pay to see a bunch of giant robots blow stuff up and punch the ever-living crap out of each other. Sure, there are other factors involved in my enjoyment of the movies, but that's the main reason I'm going to watch it. Sadly, the movies can't really deliver on that front, entirely at least. Why is that? Well, it's because of the human element. For a movie called Transformers, there's an awful lot of focus on the humans. Now, I understand that humans are necessary for that connection to the audience, for us to relate, because we can't really relate that well to giant robots, or can we? But there are two good fixes for having the humans in the movie, or at least on such a large scale as the way they are now. One is to take the Transformers Prime route. That is, give a great focus to the robots, but the humans are still there with enough relevance. I never felt that Jack, Miko, and Raph detracted from the robot focus no matter where they are in the show. I always still felt like this is a Transformers show, and whatever they helped with, I didn't feel like we're focusing too much on them. They didn't get a lot of focus in the show, but they still felt like they mattered enough so that we had that connection to them. It was really like a perfect balance between humans and Transformers, but it still felt like a Transformers show. They even added to the show perfectly in some cases. That's how I think they could do the movies. Then there's option 2, which also happens to lead into the next section. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not someone who's that big on character. Don't get me wrong, I love it when a character in a show or movie seems real, or if they're developed, but most of the time, if they aren't, my enjoyment isn't detracted. That's just the way I am. However, by humanizing the Transformers, giving them real and relatable emotions, we don't need to have humans in the story to connect with the humans because we look like them, or we're like them. Because the robots will be so human that they are the ones you connect with. For example, Beast Wars, one of the most highly regarded Transformers seasons, features no main human protagonists. Unless you count the cavemen, which I don't because they're technically not human. The characters in that show are done really well, they have real emotion, real feelings, and you can really connect with them. Now, I'm not a professional writer, but I'm sure it's not too hard to have at least one or two characters in the movie done really well for the audience to connect to them. Well, maybe it is, which then leads into the second problem with characters. There's too many of them. In the first and fourth movies, we had a small cast of Autobots and Decepticons, which allowed for them to have a personality and to stand out in their own right. But the other movies just have way too many characters, especially when you count in the fact there's also humans that we're giving a larger focus to. See, these problems go really hand in hand with each other. It really makes the only characters you know the humans, and then it leads into the human problem from before. Now this feels like a human movie with Transformers in the back. It's just a vicious cycle. Seriously, what can you tell me about Dino besides he's Italian? And I mean, awesome.
On the ground, per favore, and stay there.
What can you tell me about any of the RC triplets, or the Constructicons, or Onslaught? With a smaller cast, both the Autobots and Decepticons of the movies will be able to feel more real with personalities and emotions, not only negating the need to make a human cast, but also making the movie more enjoyable. Like character, I'm not very analytical of a movie's plot. However, all 5 movies really have made a glaring issue related to this that I can't ignore. They're all pretty much the same thing. Like, in all of them, we follow the Autobots and Decepticons chasing after a Cybertronian artifact. First it was the Allspark, then the Matrix and Sun Harvester, then the Pillars, and then the Staff of Merlin. You could make a case that the seed isn't really an artifact, but it was used in the past by the creators, and we can assume they didn't make anymore, so yeah, it is an artifact. Literally, in all 5 movies, we're chasing after a plot MacGuffin, and you honestly start to wonder how the writers repeated themselves each way. They're different writers too? That's just sad, guys. Like, come on. There's even more similarities in that as well, such as a flashback in the beginning of each movie, a villain appearing later in the movie, Optimus bringing the cavalry in every big final battle, and the last night pretty much ripping off the main plot of Dark of the Moon, which is returning Cybertron. Yeah, it doesn't take much to notice the laziness that happened when the scripts were being made. The movies would be much more enjoyable if it didn't feel like I was watching a slightly different version of the same movie each time. Obviously, you would want each movie to still feel like the same franchise, but you don't need to have very similar plots to do this. For example, the 3 Avengers movies are all great movies. They have great action, plots, the whole package, and they don't even have similar plot lines. I'd say all of them are wildly different, yet they all still feel like a part of the same franchise, whether we're talking MCU or just Avengers movies. If the Transformers films can capture something like that, then I think they could really be something incredible for the franchise. And this doesn't apply to just the plot, but to all the other elements I've talked about in this video. Of course, there are many more elements to making the movies good. It's not just the few elements I've talked about in this video. So in the future, I'll make a part 2 to this where I talk about more things you can do to make the movies better. But that depends on the views and whatnot of this video. So if you like this video and want to see that part 2 sooner, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button for more Transformers content, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching.